Hello and welcome to all from Venezuela and everyone else, and especially our ICI presidents for Venezuela, Francis and Wolfgang from the IDEA Academy. Thank you so much for inviting me to this Congress. I'm so happy to join you here, to be together with you. I'm Carl Nielsen, the Global President of the ICI, the International Association of Coaching Institute. My presentation is about coaching with mindfulness. So let's start with understanding coaching as problem solving. And regarding problem solving, Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem with the same kind of thinking that produced the problem. So some people say, oh no, problem, I don't like to hear this word, yeah? So you're very welcome to understand the word problem as a challenge for realizing your potential, or as a challenge for mastering your next steps of your inner growth, or as a challenge for ensuring health, happiness, and success. So if you prefer to use the word challenge instead of the word problem, then the claim from Albert Einstein would be, you cannot master a challenge with the same kind of thinking that created the challenge. You need to go one step higher. And this is what we are talking about, these depths of thinking that we have developed in evolution, that we know from evolutionary psychology and from history. So we discuss how professional coaches can use evidence-based mindfulness in coaching for creating sustainable solutions. And we see mindfulness as this latest kind of thinking, the latest thinking styles that humanity develops. The evidence-based mindfulness is developed 30 years ago from John Kabat-Zinn. And let me share my screen with you to go deeper into this. So we were talking about Albert Einstein, his claim that you need to go higher in the thinking. You cannot use the same kind of thinking for using the problems that were created by this style of thinking. So mindfulness-based coaching is the next kind of thinking that I want to discuss with you. And our hectic world overstimulates and harms our brains. We need to calm down to find sustainable solutions. And mindfulness allows us to calm down and to master our brain. So that's what we are talking about. We have 6 associations in the meantime for coaching, for mindfulness, for NLP, hypnosis, constellation, positive psychology. We are at the moment 9,800 members in 98 countries. So soon we will be 10,000. So let me invite you to my presentation about coaching based on evidence from evolutionary psychology, NLP, and mindfulness, with a focus on mindfulness. So our human history did not prepare us for nowadays sedentary indoor, sitting way of sitting indoors. We were always running around for 300,000 years outdoors. We had enough sleep, but nowadays we are sleep deprived, we are socially isolated, we have so many singles that are not in social structure that they feel alone. Yeah? We are fast food laden society with so hectic, frenetic pace of modern life. And for coaching and for creating good solutions, we need to calm down with our brain, to understand, to focus, to go deep. And this is possible with mindfulness. And of course, NLP and mindfulness have the same approach here and have the same kind of thinking. I will come to this shortly. So my argument is that we need mindfulness-based coaching for our brain still react very often on negative, archaic survival mode within us, in our relationships, and in political conflicts. So this negative form of the survival mode, that you can see in the world where political conflicts are, or people fight with each other. And I think Bob Dylan described it in his song Blowing in the Wind, where he says, "How many times must the cannonballs fly? And someday maybe we sing this together when I'm in person in Venezuela, meeting you there. Hope that this will happen soon." We need mindfulness-based coaching for, we are the only species who developed the technologies that can erase all life. And it's the same technologies that could create heaven on earth, paradise here now. And the picture is just a symbol for the high technology that we have developed. So John Lennon described it in his song with, "Imagine all the people living life in peace. You." Oh, I love it. And we need mindfulness-based coaching for understanding the world in us and around us. The way people see the world, and they are, but it's this way and it's this way and such and such. Is a nice picture here from 6 blind people, and one says, "Well, reality is a tail, reality is a leg, reality is an ear." So understanding the world, we need a new kind of thinking, which goes away from "I'm right, you are wrong." We need to understand each other better and develop sustainable solutions by understanding ourselves. This is why coaching is so important today, to understand ourselves and to understand everyone else around us and to understand our way of thinking and to change and to master our way of thinking so that our brain is helping us and we are not dependent on our brain, but we tell our brain what to do. And Michael Jackson is singing this through "Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race." Someday we will sing this together in person, I'm sure. So I want to introduce you to evolutionary psychology, the evolution that brought us different types of thinking, different styles, different kinds of thinking. So when we started as Homo sapiens 300,000 years ago, we were just like all the other species and animals. We were on survival mode. Our stem brain was dominant. We had a reptilian kind of fight or flight thinking. The strongest will survive. Now this was most of the time in this 300,000 years of our evolution. And then, about 70,000 years ago, something very, very special happened, the cognitive revolution. So the historians can show us that it was a different kind of thinking, that it was fictional thinking, that we were able to tell stories, and our belief system were starting those days. And this fictional kind of telling stories were uniting the groups. This was what brought us in our evolution to the top of the food chain. We were not eaten so much by other species, and it has positive aspects, like everything, like the survival mode, which is the health, power, and energy, and the fiction mode that brought us together as a community. And then 12,000 years ago, we had another start of another kind of thinking. This was when the agricultural revolution started the thinking about possession, which is that we started to see Mother Earth as our possession, that this is my land, and this is your land, and this is my animal, and not your animal, and this is my slave. We even had the possessing other humans, yeah? And this kind of thing is, the more I have, the better. I just have to accumulate my money and my possession, and the more I have, the better I am. It's a type of thinking. It started only 12,000 years ago. I mean, for a history of 300,000 years, 12,000 years don't count really, yeah? And then we had the scientific revolution, where we started scientific-based, fact-oriented, rational thinking. This is only 500 years ago that science really started. Yeah? Not a long time when you look at 300,000 years. Yeah? And this scientific revolution prepared the field for the industrial revolution, where we could, with a very creative way, use the scientific knowledge, that we could explain even how the Big Bang and how the whole universe was created many, many, many long times ago, yeah? And the Industrial Revolution that, that was giving us the division between work and life. So we have work-life balance. It's not one life anymore. It's you work for your living. It's not that it's one living. Yeah? It's divided. Yeah? You work hard, and then you can enjoy living, which is a new kind of thinking. Yeah? And you have to buy a lot of products, and if you don't know what to buy, marketing will tell you. We have so much advertising that tells you what you need to buy to feel happy. But this is just the kind of thinking, yeah? And then 100 years ago, feminist revolution started with liberation, with equal rights, with emancipation thinking. This is not really very long ago, 100 years. And it was followed by the Black Lives Matters, yeah? And by the Vietnam veterans. They were equal rights, saying it's not good to have wars. We need to understand each other better. We need emancipation kind of thinking on eye level. Yeah? We are still in these modes of thinking, and we change these modes sometimes. And it's good if you, as a professional coach, know when your client is in which kind of mode and how you can help him to access to the next higher level of thinking mode. And in 30 years ago, in 1990, there started evidence-based mindfulness. It was brought from Buddhism to the Eastern world with scientific-based, evidence-based mindfulness, mindfulness-based stress reduction from John Kabat-Zinn. It was for taming the overactive, mismatched brain, and he was unbelievable successful with this. I will come to this in a few minutes. So when you look at the stages of development that I have here, this is just what I explained a few minutes on the slide before, that we were growing from survival to fiction, to possession, to science, to production, to liberation, to mindfulness. And you find more in details on the article, Why is Mindfulness Training so important nowadays? And of course, you are invited to join us there in the mindfulness movement, for we have developed our own association for mindfulness, and we have mindfulness trainings developed on this basis of new kinds of thinking, and you can really use this in your coaching approach. So another part of the puzzle is the way we are thinking, especially if our coachee is in a negative thinking circle, in a vicious circle. If he is thinking in problems, this triggers negative emotions. And the negative emotion determine negative perception, and negative perception lead to negative actions. And then it goes back that we justify our actions with our thoughts. We can use this cycle in a positive way, but mostly when our clients or coaches come to us, they are caught in a negative way of this cycle. And NLP and mindfulness offer solution for this. I have brought this together in the next graphic that you see here, that NLP and mindfulness have the same goal, but different approaches, different ways to go there. In NLP, you change thoughts through belief work, change belief work. In mindfulness, through yoga and meditation. Or you change emotion through circle of excellence, or you change emotion in mindfulness through loving kindness meditation, or the filter of perception you change in mindfulness through noticing nature, perceiving inspiring things, or in NLP through first, second, third position, or what you do, your action. You have yoga and body scan and breathing in mindfulness, and in NLP you have new behavior generator, Disney strategy, SMART goals. So mindfulness and NLP have a lot of techniques for the goal to find new solutions. And whenever you apply them, the brain starts to calm down. You get connected to your inner being in a new way. That's why NLP is so wonderful, and mindfulness as well. And for mindfulness, it's just that we have so many scientific proof that mindfulness works. We don't have this for coaching or for NLP in the same amount of scientific evidence-based articles or research is done. When you go to Google Scholar, it lists you 200,000 in a second, 200,000 of articles and researches done about mindfulness-based stress reduction, about what John Kabat-Zinn developed 30 years ago, 1990. And they prove that mindfulness trainings have significant positive effects on, of course, calming the mind, on stress, on immune system, on mental health, on aging, on addiction. So it's the best researched area that you can find in coaching or psychotherapy. And I highly recommend that you look a little bit around in this evidence-based kind of mindfulness. So John Kabat-Zinn, who was developing it 33 years ago in 1990, yeah? This is a book, Full Catastrophe Living, which has more than 600 pages. I highly recommend to read it. It is in Spanish language as well. And the attitudes he recommends there for mindfulness, which are the fundamental kind of thinking of mindfulness, yeah, is non-judging. You as a coach, you need non-judging as well when you work with your clients, or patience, that you take your time. It's a beginner's mind, that you really try to understand his world, how your client sees it, and that you trust him, that he will find solutions, and that you are not striving around with your mind, searching for some kind of what can I do next with him. No, you are concentrating, you are really deeply connected to him and his solution process that he is evolving, and that you accept him, and that you let go, and that you just be there. I highly recommend for coaches to learn more about these kind of attitudes. We have them in NLP too, and in coaching, they are just the basic for everything in mindfulness. So my recommendation for you as professional coaches, my recommendations are: focus on changing the kind of thinking of your coachee, and help your coachee to tame their overactive brain and thinking. And you're so welcome. Learn more about mindfulness. We have an association called In Me World, yeah? Where we have combined NLP and mindfulness, and coaching and mindfulness, and hypnosis and mindfulness, where I have added the positive aspects of NLP and coaching and hypnosis to mindfulness. This is a unique way of mindfulness approach, yeah, that you find. And I have described it in my article, Why is Mindfulness Training So Important Nowadays? Highly recommend to go to our website, to the In Me World, and to see there what we have. You are very welcome, and I hope we can soon talk more about this. Yeah? I'm so grateful that you joined. Thank you very much, and I really hope that we meet someday in Venezuela, or that you come to one of our World Congress in the next years. The world needs more mindfulness, and coaching. For coaching, mindfulness is very helpful. Thank you for bringing coaching to the world. Thank you for making the world a better place. I'm so grateful. You are so wonderful. Thank you very much.